On today's episode of That Was Us, we'll be discussing Season 1, Episode 14, I Call Marriage. Toby throws a wrench in Kate's weight loss journey. Randall struggles to accept his father's failing health. Miguel and Shelly have terrible news for Jack and Rebecca. Rebecca receives a work opportunity, and Kevin examines his romantic past. Hello, hello, friends.
What's going on, sister? How y'all doing?
Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to That Was Us, your favorite podcast on the ones and tens. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe if you want us to keep recording these episodes. We would love for you to leave us a review.
Yeah.
Maybe we can read some of those in our fan segment sometime. We'd love to hear what
Only
you think
the
of the
good ones,
podcast.
Only the 5 stars.
Five
Only the good
stars,
ones.
2 thumbs up.
5 stars and 1 star, because those can be funny sometimes.
Oh, the 1 stars, please.
Yeah.
Rachel and I went to go buy a toaster once
Yeah.
on Amazon and got lost in a review of toasters. And it's probably the hardest I've ever laughed.
Really?
Yeah, it was people.
The 1-star reviews?
People's terrible reviews
Of toasters.
Of toasters. Yeah. But please leave us a review. Tell all your friends. Help us grow the show so that we can keep recording these because we love doing it and we love talking to you.
Support our sponsors as well. We have some incredible sponsors on the show, and they're all worthy of supporting. So with that,
Episode 14.
here we go.
Another big one. I Call Marriage.
I Call Marriage, and I want to say that Ryan Michelle Bethay has every once in a while throughout the years since this episode said, I Call Marriage.
In what context? So give us an
There'll
example.
be like, something's going on. There's a conflict between two things, and she needs me to show up for her or whatnot. And she said, hey, Brown, I call marriage. And I'll be like, oh,
Got it.
got it.
Understood.
Got to go.
Yeah.
Message received.
Sure. That's it.
I love it.
Yeah. It's really interesting that I did a mother effing show that my wife references to make me be better.
There you go.
It's crazy.
Amazing.
It's crazy. Where does this one start, gang?
We started Jack and Rebecca's wedding at City Hall.
All different stages of marriage in this episode, right? The different phases, the different seasons of marriage. And so we start at the beginning of one.
Yeah, and sort of a montage of the happiest times in the early days of their courtship and marriage. Things are splendid, and then that is immediately juxtaposed with finding them in not present day, but in this particular timeline with teenagers.
They're brushing their teeth.
They're brushing
in the
their
mirror,
teeth, and it's like
just stark.
Yeah, silent.
Contrasted with little sexy, playful brushing teeth.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
That's right. There was that before.
Just depressed.
Yeah.
Just depressed teeth.
Time has taken its toll on these two.
And it's maybe the most brutal mirror that this show's held up so far.
Probably.
In the sad brushing of
They
teeth.
just look tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in their routine.
You know what? Like, it actually is I find it refreshing.
Hey, Sterling, why is it refreshing?
I'll tell you why I find it refreshing, Chris. Because that shit is real, bro.
That shit is real. That shit is real. It becomes such a cliche when people talk about how do you stay together? How do you make
What's
a
the
marriage?
secret?
How do you make a marriage
Yeah,
work?
yeah.
And I heard somebody make a joke once. There was an old lady. They asked, "You guys were married for 80 years. How did you stay together?"
Yeah.
And the answer was, "We just didn't get divorced."
There you go. Just
And
keep
it's like,
showing up.
Hate to break it to you,
Yeah.
but
It might be just as easy as that
it
sometimes.
might just be as easy as that.
Yeah.
And those feel-good drugs, those love drugs,
Yeah.
the serotonin, the whatever the thing is, are not always there.
No.
Sometimes for years at a time. And
You got to push through.
you have to push through. We talked about it in the last episode about sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
And I was heavy in therapy early in our parental lives. And my therapist was just like, most marriages that don't last, that with kids that get divorced happens within the first 2 years of the child's life.
Really?
And they said, because people are just not in their right. You're sleep deprived.
You've been pushed to the brink.
You've been pushed to the brink. Your body's been through something, completely unique that it has never been through before. A partnership that has always been, you've spent a lot of time my friend said it well. Like you spend your whole life when you decide to partner up, bringing your circle down to 2. Okay, this is the unit, right? I call marriage. This is the 2, and then a baby comes along. It's like, all right, but make room for just one more.
Sure.
And so those first couple of years of just letting it be. Rachel and I got much better the second crowd. We're like, yes, this first year and a half is going to be different. We're going to be parallel. We're going to be maybe not as connected as we want to be, but let's not do or say anything that's going to make it worse.
There you go.
Well played.
Let it be.
I'm going to say one thing. This is a total tangent.
Yeah.
This is to pregnant couples.
Feel a hot take coming on.
Please keep having sex with your husband.
I love that was to pregnant couples.
To pregnant couples.
Yeah.
Pregnant couples.
This is just to couples in general, not necessarily man or woman.
Okay, explain.
So, okay, this is my experience. And you tell me how you feel about this take. Your body, at one point in time, before parenthood, was something that was sort of like with your partner for mutual pleasure.
Sure.
Then you enter into a place where it's like, there's a functionality beyond pleasure that my body was made for. It is to rear, raise, and grow a child, be it inside of my body and also outside of my body.
Sure.
So sometimes I have experienced in my own life where there can be sort of like, well, how can my body be something that is something for pleasure and something for the nourishment of a child? I have to choose one or the other. And then in that time, the husband is just blowing in the wind.
On the sidelines.
On the sidelines. And I don't know if that's in every marriage, but I'm saying to those couples that are going through, just don't forget, there's good times that were there. And you need to continue to feed your coupledom as you raise your children. Because I think sometimes that gets pushed to the side.
That gets neglected.
Now tell me if it was that. Is that your experience? Or
I
not?
mean, look. It is a time of of discomfort.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
It's not the most comfortable time.
Yes.
I am in awe of women that feel like a goddess when they are pregnant. I am not one of those women. I'm just like, I'm grateful. Endlessly grateful to my body, but I'm going to put my head down and march through this time and get to the end of it and let it do its thing.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like it is a tricky balance, but I agree with you. Like there are still ways though to function as partners and husband and wife, and to acknowledge the intimacy that should be there.
Yes.
That you want to carry with you through all these different stages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And an excellent time to maybe take a closer look at how you can express that intimacy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
In different ways.
Yeah.
And maybe to come to realize that physical intimacy has played, I don't know what the word is, to take a look at the role that physical intimacy has played in propping up a relationship.
Okay.
Wow.
Because I do know what you're talking about.
Guys, we are getting
And
you do.
this is
real.
early in the episode. This is early.
This is
early.
sidebar too.
This is
I
early.
love this.
This is
I'm
free.
looking at our producers who
Someone
are like,
downloaded this
is
for
getting
free.
cut.
Shall we talk about the episode?
Oh, right. This is us.
This is us. This is not a sex podcast. We see early on in this episode, speaking of like all of the different seasons of a relationship, after Jack and Rebecca are brushing their teeth, parents of teenagers, stuck in sort of that rut, they go out to dinner with Shelly and Miguel, where the bomb is dropped that they are getting divorced. And it really rocks Jack and Rebecca.
Yeah. Because it's like a relationship transmitted disease.
Yeah.
Divorce.
Yes.
Where you're like, oh, it's
happened
that's
to
possible?
them. Yeah, could it happen to us? And I think it definitely like plants the seed in the brains of this couple that we love of, could that be us? How did it happen to them, and how do we prevent it from happening with us?
It happened to my group of friends post-college. One couple broke up, and all of those couples that had been together for like 3-4 years, it just not saying that they were
Like a domino effect.
Like a domino effect. Everyone was like, yes, us too. And just everybody. Just, everybody split.
Relationships or marriages?
Split, just relationships. Just relationships.
Okay.
But it was one of those things where it was like, oh, well, if they, wait, we don't have to, like you almost don't realize like,
we don't have to break up too.
That is an option. But that is an option.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That
breaking
happens.
up. Yeah.
It is one of those uncomfortable things because like that was their couple. So like the couple that you kick it with or whatnot. So like you're messing up the whole social structure of like how we tend to enjoy ourselves is now sort of like been dismantled, right? Yeah. And that feeling is a weird one. Like I haven't had any of my friends
knock on wood,
get divorced.
And I think it forces Jack and Rebecca to question each other.
Yeah.
But Jack actually puts it to Miguel and was like, what happened? Like he's a little more surprised, they think, than Rebecca. Rebecca's like, she's been unhappy for a long time.
Right.
Maybe saw this coming a little bit more than him, but still freaked out.
I think beyond just even what happened, I think he's angry. Like Jack seems like
he's like, this is not how you tend to a relationship.
Yeah.
Like you find your soulmate, you're married forever, you ride the waves together.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Like a fatherly disappointment.
For sure. And Miguel's just sort of like, we stopped noticing each other. We stopped making each other happy. Like
Huertas kills this thing. It's like every day I wake up and make her a cup of coffee, right? 6:30, make the cup for both of us. One day I just didn't make it. And it's just like, it can be like that.
Yeah. That light bulb moment.
It's weird. I always say this to people. It's like, you guys continue to grow throughout life. And if you're not careful, one person can kind of grow like that and the other person, and before you know it, what seemed like nothing, after a second, you're like, oh, wow.
Miles apart.
What the hell?
Yeah. No, Rach and I have been through couples therapy and it's almost like the contemplation, I am of the opinion that the contemplation of death or the end of life is important to a life fully lived.
Okay. Yeah.
And I believe also that the contemplation of divorce is important.
Oh, that's a hot take.
To a hot take.
Hot take.
Hot take is important to a full relationship
because it keeps you from taking it for granted.
We can beat around this bush, but like, do you want to? Me neither.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what would that look like?
But we can't just
be?
not talk about it. Like that is an option. You're not trapped here. I'm not trapped here.
Ooh, wow.
And it's
making me feel something.
And it's brutal and it's honest and it takes a long time to get. You can't
out of the gate. Just
you can't breach that subject in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
No.
It has to come from
distance and perspective
and honesty and compassion and love and knowing that it's something that is an option, which can be scary.
Be like, exactly, but shouldn't be like feared or not talked about out of that sake.
People just shouldn't be silently wondering if the other person is thinking about it or not.
Yeah.
That is, I've never thought about it in that way. I think I've thought about it because not normally, don't make it sound like it comes up all the time, Brown. The times in which there's been difficult times, and every once in a while it can come up, but it'll be in the heat of something.
Sure.
And that's not the time that it should happen. But if you actually have a sobriety about like, we're checking in.
The pause.
How are you feeling about this marriage right now?
Yeah.
What are you missing? What do you need from me? What can I do? What could I get from you, et cetera? Like, I think it does keep you from taking something for granted.
Yeah. And it allows you to have those conversations that is like, and I've had these with Rachel, where it's just like, I am not feeling loved by you.
Chris
Chris
is getting real.
And here is how I need it expressed.
Yeah.
In order for it to come through.
Does she watch this podcast?
What's that?
Does your...
Wait,
I'm just curious.
Are we rolling?
We're not recording this.
No, listen, I record, but I don't think Ryan knows how to find podcasts.
Don't worry, I'll send this to her.
Thank you.
We'll text this to her
But
afterwards.
if you could get her to rate, review, and subscribe, that'd be great. At the very least.
It's the least she could do. Come on.
No, I don't mean that I mean, this is conversation that Rachel and I've had both ways.
Yes.
Where it's like if you want me to feel loved,
Yeah.
this is what I need, especially after having kids. Like, it's almost like we've forgotten how to do it. And so the conversations are like practical. It's like, you know what I need?
Yeah.
I need once a day for you to come up and wrap.
Have we talked about this? What is your love language?
So my love language, in order for me to feel loved, is words of affirmation and grounding touch. I've told our producer Rob that. He gives me the
A lot of grounding touch.
nicest grounding touch. But here's the interesting thing about love languages.
Yeah.
Is that people then assume
That their love language is someone else's love language.
so if I give you grounding touch and words of affirmation, then I'm loving you.
Sure.
But if
Not
that's not the
necessarily.
language you speak,
Yeah, man.
Rachel, for the first 7 years of our marriage, did all these acts of service for me, thinking that
That's what meant something.
because that's the love language she speaks.
All I need is that touch.
And I'm like, that's nice. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you. But that doesn't make me feel loved.
We have that in gift giving between Brown and his wife.
Gift giving is your love language
Not
that you
even
share?
close.
Oh.
It's hers.
Oh, hers.
But you give me a gift, I'm like, cool. I need that grounding touch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. A gift means
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
right, but it means something to her. So I have to be better. I have to be better.
Yes. I mean,
have to be better
this
for
is the
her.
conversation,
Yeah.
right? This is the conversation. So do I learn your language
Yes.
because I'm living in your country?
Yes.
Then I should learn to speak your language.
Yes.
But also,
Yes. You should learn mine.
Yeah.
yes.
We should learn each other.
Hot take.
Yes. Hot take. Hot
Okay, wait. Let's keep moving forward.
Sorry, yeah,
Jack
yeah,
and
yeah.
Rebecca, because this were you at rehearsal?
take. Yes.
My Funny Valentine. Did you pick this?
No,
today?
that's a show. That is actually
show.
Yes.
That's a show.
Yes.
Singing your face off.
Oh.
You're sultry with it.
Oh, you're
Like,
sweet.
you know what I'm saying? Like, because people met you when you was 15 or whatnot, but like, you like being sultry with it. You have, who is your influence, would you say?
I have no idea.
I think you do.
I don't.
Who do you like?
Who has
do you
the
listen to?
who's your sultry singer?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who do you love? We know you love Joni Mitchell.
I
love
love
Joni
Joni.
Mitchell.
I mean,
I would say she's a sultry singer.
she can be for sure.
Not
in her
known
own way.
for it.
No. But like, she has sort of a jazzy element to her. I was a bit like taken aback. I was like, oh, Rebecca's doing music again, and she's like kind of doing this like jazz thing that was.
Yeah.
I was like back into the singer songwriter thing that she loved as like a young person.
Yeah.
I don't really. I don't. There's not anybody top of mind that I can think of that I like was emulating or that I look to. But I
She's
did.
her own thing.
I loved
That's
this
right.
opportunity to show this different side of Rebecca, that she's revisiting this after so many years and able to like tap into like a very unfulfilled part of who she is.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that she's kept a little bit of a secret that we'll get into in 15, but her bandmate is someone that she does have a history with.
So you call it. We'll get into this in the next episode.
Sure.
Because you're calling it now. You're saying that you did keep a secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she acknowledged. We'll get into that.
But
I think
she didn't lie.
She didn't lie.
She kept the secret.
Sure.
Okay.
But
that's
a lie
good.
by omission is
Same
still
thing?
a lie.
Same thing. I don't know.
I would argue.
Okay.
But let's see. What else do I have
So he
written down
does say,
here?
well, Ben does say at the end of hey, great show tonight. There's, aren't you looking forward to going on the road? And you're like, yeah, I haven't got to talk.
Yeah, we
it
got offered.
through.
There was a talent scout who saw our show and wants to do a tour of the East Coast.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, wow, that's cool. I got to talk to my husband, make sure it's cool. And he's like, well, if he loved you, of course he would support you. And then that's when you see Rebecca clap back.
Mm-hmm.
She said, hey, man, my husband is a superhero. Don't be talking about what love is and what love ain't, bruh. Because we can end this right now.
That was our first hint. There was something going on there with old Benny boy.
Yes.
Well, maybe feelings from his side, but I think
She's like, not from mine.
no. I think Rebecca was like, this is strictly
Right.
professional. I am elated to have this opportunity again. I feel like a early 20-something-year-old like up on stage but yeah, I loved seeing the shade of Rebecca. It's almost like she needed that to activate her definition of what for her to remember and recognize and acknowledge, especially out loud to someone, what an incredible partner she has.
Yeah.
This man who has like wordlessly picked up all the slack at home. Being at both football games for both kids who play on different teams, like going through the laundry list of everything that Jack has done in order for her to be at rehearsal and to do this thing that used to be a hobby of her, you know? Like, I loved that. It was like, it was an easy reminder for her of like, I know what I have at home.
Sure.
Was this the first episode we meet Sam Trammell?
No, we met him back in episode 7, I believe.
That's right. That's right.
That was when she kind of the musical side had reemerged, as it were.
Perfectly.
To kind of put a pin in the Jack and Rebecca storyline, Jack surprises her with like a little, like, we're going to go have like a little date night, just the two of us after she gets back from this performance. And
he'd packed the bag and he's like, come on, let's go.
And he takes them to their very first apartment.
Yes.
And it's empty. It's filled with these beautiful Christmas lights. They have like an overnight. I'm like, where are they sleeping? What are they doing? Why are they showering? Like,
they're not sleeping.
If you know what I mean.
They're staying overnight, but they're not sleeping.
It's a callback too, because there's sweet love making in the opening montage in which somebody tried to put a foot up on the soap dish and the soap dish came off the side. I'm like, because you're trying to get a good angle. So you have to put the foot up.
Yeah.
And
Wait, I don't understand what you're getting at. Listen.
What?
If you're watching now, shower sex is not safe, all right? Practice safe sex.
Someone's going to slip.
Get out of the shower.
I'm going to say this too. It's not that much fun.
It's not that much fun, and it's unsafe.
Episode.
It's cinematic on TV, but like in real life, the times in which you go for it, and you're like, I'd rather be dry and moisturized.
Yeah, should we get out of here and moisturize?
Moisturize.
Now.
Wait.
Moisturize
that's a whole nother
sex.
thing.
Moisturize sex.
More That Was Us after this short break.
I love a good meal, gang, and I have a lot of favorite foods. I am a huge French toast guy.
I've seen it.
I'll always go for a medium rare ribeye when it's just right at a restaurant. And I've got a ton of family recipes that I always request when we gather. And that's just me. My family all have their favorites too. But I'm not a cook. And if I attempted to cook everyone's favorite dish every meal, I'd practically live in the kitchen. Luckily, HelloFresh's new Build-A-Plate meals are here to help. You guys got any go-tos, any favorites that you dig on?
I mean, I'm in the same position, man. Right now, I'm cooking for 2 different toddlers who like 2 different things. My wife, who's on a very specific, almost vegetarian diet, and then myself, who needs
just
nothing.
Eats the scraps of what everybody else has left on their plates.
And so, if HelloFresh could deliver me the crust of a grilled cheese sandwich, that would be what I eat most of the time. Luckily, they are serving up way better food than what I am used to at home.
Hell yeah.
HelloFresh's new Build-A-Plate meals are designed to let every member of your household create their perfect plate. No more making multiple dinners to satisfy everyone. Just one meal with so many ways to enjoy.
Love that. With school in session and fall sports around the corner, you're already low on time. So why settle for so-so meals? HelloFresh meals can easily be customized to fit your family's tastes. With protein and veggie swap options, you and the kids can choose just the right combos for each week's deliveries.
You know I need that protein, girl. HelloFresh's easy-to-follow recipes include pre-portioned ingredients delivered fresh. So no last-minute grocery store run required. Just choose your delivery day, open your box, and get cooking.
And for a limited time, kids eat free. Did you hear that, Sully?
What?
Go to HelloFresh.com/TWUkids to unlock this exclusive offer. 1 free kids meal per box for 2 months while subscription is active. That's free kids meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/TWUkids. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
I mean, if kids are eating free, we might have to have another one.
Come on, let's do it.
Join the club.
Fun fact, everybody. The least fun thing you can do with your bank account is overdraft. I'm sure many of us have had those times in our lives when we thought we had more money than we actually did. You wound up overdrafting, and then you have fees for not having enough money. They charge you money for not having enough money. Now compare that with Chime that will spot you up to $200 with no fees.
Sterling, right out of college when money was tight and I was trying to get $20 to go feed myself on some fast food dollar menu, I would overdraw my account all the time, only to find out that the bank was charging me $35 every time I did this. Now, if I had had Chime, they would allow me to overdraft up to $200 with no fees so I could figure it all out. A Chime checking account helps you reach your financial goals while still enjoying life. Take back your finances with features like fee-free overdraft up to $200 with SpotMe, or getting paid up to 2 days early on direct deposits.
Chime has spotted members over $20 billion already and is super easy to set up. Just set up a direct deposit at your Chime account, and after your first payment of $200 or more, Chime will notify you to enroll in SpotMe. With an activated debit card, Chime will spot you up to your limit when you exceed your balance, and your next direct deposit is applied to your negative balance. Now, Chime never charges SpotMe fees or interest just for getting spotted, and you can get boosts when you refer your friends.
Live it up this summer and make progress towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in minutes at chime.com/thatwasus. That's chime.com/thatwasus. Chime. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details.
Can I bring it back to the PG audience for everybody?
Yes, go ahead.
Excuse me, madam. There's nothing non-PG about sex, sexual
no,
intercourse.
No. It's a natural part
There
of life.
might be young people who listen to this podcast, my friend.
Sure.
Younger people.
Yeah.
When a man loves a woman,
When
or
man,
a woman loves a woman, or a
on.
man loves a man.
man.
I will just say this little tidbit. It reminded me. When my husband and I got engaged, he
Go
took
on.
a cue from Jack Pearson.
Oh, snap.
We went to our home that we were building together, that we were renovating together.
Yeah.
And I remember he picked me up from work. It was very Jack Pearson.
Was it really?
He picked me up from work, and I was like, oh, he had been out of town. He's a musician, so he's always traveling. And I was like, oh, we should go see like the progress that's been made at the house. And so we pull up to the house, and he like runs up ahead of me, and I'm like, hey, hello, where are you going? Like, I'm trying to point out all the things that have been done or happened since he'd last been there. And he's just like nowhere to be found. And I'm like, Taylor, hello. And I turn and like round the corner, and there is a little circle of Christmas lights, a la Jack Pearson, on the ground in the middle of the day, mind you. And I was like, in this unfinished home, reminded me very much of this scene.
Yes.
And then he got down on the one knee. And I was like, I saw the Christmas lights and was like,
no way.
those weren't there. Like, it took me a while to sort of
You're like, what is going on?
Yeah, I was like, who put the Christmas lights and they're in a like, what is going on? It took me like my brain a second to catch up what was happening.
Sure.
And then he got down on his knee and proposed in our unfinished home. Yeah. But it just, when I was watching this scene the other day, I was like, oh, wow.
That's really cool.
He borrowed a cue.
The romantic gesture.
Yeah. It was
I call
sweet.
marriage.
I call marriage.
What are your love languages, real quick?
Spanish.
Latin. I would say acts of service. And what are the 5?
Acts of service, gift giving, grounding touch, love languages, and quality time.
Quality time and acts of service.
Affirmative words, right? You said love languages, right?
Yeah.
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. Yeah.
Okay.
I had pregnancy brain there. Yes, those are mine too.
You look
and
great.
yours are
It's
grounding
really
touch.
just touch me.
Just grounding touch.
I like
Not words of affirmation.
No, words of affirmation are good, but I had a recent dearth of lack of grounding touch, and I was like, I'll just take that, please.
I hear you.
Now, grounding touch does not mean sexual touch.
No.
Not. It means it can.
For all you dirty birds.
It can, but
No.
it's not
Listening.
Just. It's not just.
My husband is grounding touch too. Like if I just like come up behind him and like give him a hug,
Yes.
Yeah.
He just melts.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it too, but I'm also like, no, you taking out the garbage before I have to ask.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll get you some grounding touch.
We'll get you all the grounding touch you want.
Yeah.
Lord.
I mean,
I feel like,
I
can
saw
I
a short
take some
on
charge
YouTube
off?
yesterday. It said, "This is how my husband flirts with me," and it's this woman walking through the house, and it's her husband giving her sexy eyes and folding laundry, giving her sexy eyes and taking out the trash.
Totally.
Giving her,
totally. So, okay, you're saying we wrapping up Jack and Rebecca. We're in the old place.
yes, and
The
this
lights are
big
on.
gesture of him sort of trying to counter his fears of what happened to Shelly and Miguel, being romantic,
Yeah.
or finding a way to get them back into their newlywed apartment. And they had this beautiful, romantic, passionate night together.
Yes, they do.
And at the end of the episode, when they're all snuggled up together, fresh out of the shower,
Yeah.
Rebecca breaks it to him like, I guess there's no better time.
She says, the band booked a 5-state tour.
5-state tour.
5-state tour, and I think I want to go.
And the episode ends.
The delivery was so good.
Yeah.
Just your head on his shoulder, very quiet.
And Jack was just like, oh man. So then we
What's
leave that hanging there.
Yes.
Chris, you're talking about the importance of talking about death and accepting that as a part of life, as well as divorce being a part of marriage and not something to be afraid of. So that sort of, I think, is a good segue into Randall. Because we open on Randall. He comes home calling for his family. It's kind of dark in the house, wondering where the kids are, his wife, his dad. His dad's over at the piano sitting there just like, oh, there you are. Randall walks over to him, puts his hand on him, and William just sort of falls into the piano.
Yeah.
And then Randall wakes up like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it is so funny because when I was watching it, I was like, I don't remember this scene. Like,
Same.
I was like, where is everybody? What? It's quiet in the Pearson house. Black Pearson house is normally full of life and vim and vigor. What is happening? And it took me a minute to realize, oh, this is a dream. And it got me.
Same.
It got me. And you start to recognize just how scared he is.
Yeah.
This man is going to go.
Yeah.
Right?
And how hard he grips. He just holds on. He just is to everything. I mean, to tradition, to whatever the
Yes.
thing is.
Yeah.
The hyper focus of somebody, of his intelligence level, of his whatever it is, his personality
His
type.
emotional intelligence. I think the next thing we see is him going downstairs and the chess match between William and Tess. They're playing
having a
chess.
match.
This is an interesting metaphor to put in the episode
Go ahead.
of I Call Marriage.
Extrapolate.
Just chess being not a game of chance, but a game of strategy. But the thing that William says to her is, you always protect your queen.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
That's good writing.
That's good. They're good. They're
Yeah.
subtle. They do good things like that. But you can see there's a growing sort of discomfort with the discussion of just like his illness,
Right.
his sickness. Later in the episode, Beth, because her father passed away from cancer, is introducing the idea of a memory box and talking to the girls about it. And you can see Randall's just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so uncomfortable.
This is not the time for that. Like, nobody's dying right now. Didn't they bring in, was it an estate planner or was it a doctor?
Someone who works in palliative care.
in palliative care.
And same. It's again another shade that we've never really seen of Randall. He's
Yeah.
just like he's distracted. He has a lot on his plate. He's overwhelmed, and like this idea of having to deal with something that feels totally unworthy of his time right now.
Yeah.
It's like he can't hide it. He can't hide his discomfort or his annoyance almost at
Yeah.
what is unfolding. And he just like abruptly is like, I gotta go to work. Like I've already wasted enough time.
Yeah.
And he's sort of burning the candle at both ends.
Both
in
ends.
that
And
sense.
you also start to see like the high, the chemo high that William had from a week prior has now
It's wearing off.
worn off, right? Because he's trying to like do things for William. He's like, I can wash a piece of fruit or whatever it is. He walks to the sink and he just sort of collapses. That's this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just sort of collapsing. He's like, sit back down. So it's not, it's in his face. And his wife is doing an incredible job of preparing their children for what's going to happen. And Randall's just not there.
Yeah.
He's not there, right? So they go to, and that's what it was. He has to, because Sanjay, or Sanjay, depending on Tyler's pronunciation, they have to take out a client to dinner. And they pick this particular night, and it's also the night of his daughter's chess tournament. And so he comes in, and he's got, it reminds me of like a rayon sort of thing that used to be at a popular store called Oak Tree back when I was a kid. Rocked a lot of rayon back in my day. That's what I was like, oh, this is cool, right? And so he's about to tell his wife he's got to go out to this thing. And she's like, look, no, she's been planning this thing for a long time. It's important. And that's where we hear, I call marriage, right? She's like, I'm not going to sit through a chess tournament by myself. Like, if I'm going to this thing, you're going to be there with me. And they go to the tournament. After, shout out to Sue, who delightfully ribs Randall for his fashion choice in the episode. It's funny. It's funny, and it has this sort of overlap thing because it dissipates when things feel heavy. Like the writers have a way, and then Sue in particular, I think, has a way of just dissipating like the heaviness with injecting her funny bone, right? Then we get to the chess tournament, and you can tell he's still distracted. He's trying to check in on the dinner that his clients and whatnot, but still be here for this. She wins the chess tournament, and there's celebration, and you see William and Tess hugging everything, and he's just wondering, did I do a bad thing? Like, did I do a bad thing by introducing this man who's eventually going to die? Now, this is an interesting thing because I actually have this conversation with myself, not to the same degree as this, but I do have this weird relationship with pets because I had my dog died when I was a young boy, Dutch, may rest in peace. And it makes me reticent to get a pet. But I know I've had this conversation with you because you say like, well, that is something that everybody has to be familiar with. And what a great way for kids to learn that that's an eventuality with the pet before it happens with somebody in their life, right? And it's over this arc of episodes right now, these things that are happening with Randall in terms of work-life balance, death in the home, the competition at work. He develops
like a tremor.
A slight tremor. And it sort of makes the audience go like, ooh.
Uh-oh. Something's coming.
What's going on with this dude? You know? And so is there anything else in that?
No foreshadowing. I think that's just, it's interesting to because Randall dealt with death in such a traumatic way when he was a kid. Yeah. He's trying so hard to, like you said earlier, protect his children from the same thing. But again, you cannot keep death from your children. You know, it's like, and it's interesting. Bear just at 3.5 just experienced his first death. They have 2 bunnies at his school. Okay. And one of the bunnies died of old age. And the school had a whole thing in place. They emailed all the parents about how we talk about this, how we're going to tell the children that this bunny died, his body stopped working, and now he'll be planted in the ground and so forth. And it's just interesting, before children have a context about what it means to live and die. Bear has also recently, we got some encyclopedia of important things that talked about mummies in ancient Egypt, which was essentially people being planted in the ground. Yeah. And so he was asking Grandma and Grandpa, you know, someday you'll be planted in the ground. But he has no fear around it. Sure. He has nothing attached to it. Yeah. He has no context for it. Yeah. And, you know, the bunnies' names were Truffles and Kevin.
Who passed away?
Truffles.
Truffles. R.I.P.
But Kevin's off to a bunny camp to pick a new roommate. Okay. Which is how they just send the bunny away for a week to partner up and find a friend. Huh. And I was telling that story to somebody in front of Bear, and I'm like, right? And Kevin's off to camp to find a new friend, and Bear goes, yeah, because Truffles died. You're like, yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's
You're right.
It. Yeah. And so the question then becomes, at least for me, is, okay, instead of protecting or keeping death from them, it's like, how do you teach them to relate to it? Yeah. In a way.
To not fear it.
To understand it. But for Randall, I mean, and Kate, and it was just, there's this death in their life. Yeah. That maybe you never fully process. Maybe you never fully understand. Maybe you never, who knows?
It was just hard watching this episode, watching Randall specifically, because something is coming. They're planting the seeds for
They have
some
been.
eventuality of this coming to a head. And
It makes me deeply uncomfortable.
it is. It's uncomfortable.
Like, as an audience member, I'm like, hold it together, big dog.
It's like the character you would least expect this from. Like, this person seemingly has all of the coping skills, all of the resources to manage these stressful moments, and to see him really questioning, like, did I do the wrong thing by bringing this person? It's almost like he's asking, like, into their lives, into my life, because it has opened a cacophony of, you know what I mean? It's like every other thing is starting to feel like it's failing.
Right.
That you can't meet as a husband, as an employee, as like a father. Like all of these things are starting to sort of wane.
Yeah.
So it is deeply uncomfortable, I feel like, watching.
And it's such an interesting, like, in an episode called I Am Marriage, and an episode that I call marriage.
Yeah.
I am
I am marriage.
This is weddings. To pick this as a season of a marriage. Like to pick a wedding day, or to pick someone getting divorced, or to pick this season of a marriage where you're having to deal with your children and death and all of these things is an interesting spot to pick that one up. And then I guess the other plot line is a divorced couple who are now trying, or one
to find
one
their
is
way back
maybe
to each other,
trying-
perhaps.
is maybe trying to find their way back
Kevin
to each
and
other.
Sophie.
So let's talk about this. This Justin Hartley. He comes into this diner and he sees, I don't know who the guy is, but I know
lady.
this is Marla Gibbs.
Yeah.
It's Marla Gibbs. And as you said, like, we sort of pepper people throughout the episode who are part of our television history, who we grew up with. And it was so delightful to see that. And so he starts talking about this booth.
And for anybody who doesn't know, Marla Gibbs.
Marla Gibbs was the housekeeper on the Jeffersons, 227. She was the mama on that. She is brilliant and delightful and wonderful. I was actually at a restaurant where, so her daughter, side bet for later on, plays my mom.
No.
Yes.
On
This Is Us.
No.
But later, that's season.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Her daughter plays my mom.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is wild.
But
So there's a little Easter egg right there.
There's a nice-
The lady that Kevin talks to in this diner is Randall's grandmother.
There you go. And he's telling her about this booth and how he had his first date in this booth with his ex-wife, and how it's really important to her, and she's going to be here any minute, and if I could just get this booth. And it's like, he's so sincere, and also this dude has the nerve to ask these old-ass people about this booth.
For a booth.
Yeah.
And she sort of benignly looks at him and says, "Are you the Manny?" And he's like, "Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I am." He's just like, "If we take this picture or whatever," and he's like, "Cool, all good." And it reminded me, I don't know if you guys have these moments, and many you may not. So I forget, like, when you're just relating to people on a human-to-human level because you need something or you want something, et cetera, et cetera. And in their mind, they're going like, "Dude, aren't you like, you're Randall?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, but could I just get this, you know,
I just need my car back. I need my car back.
I need this nose fillet, whatever it is. I need to clear whatever. But so it was.
Wait, what was your example?
No, what's the thing you put up your nose for allergies? The
Flonase.
I said nose fillet.
You did say nose fillets. That's why I was like, wait a second.
What is a nose fillet, and what have I been missing my whole life?
Slang for cocaine. Listen, I just need the nose fillets. If you could just give me.
Just deliver.
They
sweet
give
nose
them
fillets.
the booth right in time for Sophie to come in. And it's really sweet because he's just so happy to have her in that space. Yeah. And we don't know, what she wants from the situation, but she eventually winds up sort of saying that, like, I just wanted to, like, look at you and let you know that, like, to sort of be done.
Yeah.
What did she say?
Yeah, I mean, in the episode previous, she ends, but he says, "Please just meet me somewhere," and I'll think about it. And the episode ends with her texting where.
Yes, right.
And
He's
you
like,
think,
"Our
and you
diner."
think, all right, maybe she's
open to it.
maybe she's open to it. And she comes in hot,
real hot.
essentially just to tell him off.
Yeah. But he ordered
Lava fries.
the
That's what
lava
he called
fries
it?
or
Yeah.
whatnot, you know. And
She's
so
like, damn it, gotta stay for my fries.
she
You know me
sits
well.
down. She sits down with the fries, and they have a conversation. We wind up getting some really interesting information. Like, I guess we knew that they were married from the previous episode. I think the new information is that he was unfaithful.
Yes, that he
Right.
cheated.
That he was unfaithful, and we don't really get because at that point in time she leaves and he follows her out to the subway.
Right.
Yeah, he says something about,
They're walking and talking.
He's like, "You want to talk about it? I'll talk about it."
Yeah.
well, he said something that made her go like, okay, this is over. And that's why she left, and he like chased after her.
Okay.
And they found themselves on the subway, which got stuck.
Right.
They're sitting apart from each other.
Yeah.
And eventually he kind of works up the nerve of like, we're stuck. I've got to talk to you.
Was this the episode? Hartley does this stuff where the old lady fell asleep on his shoulder.
Was that real?
No. Well,
Yes,
I don't-
yes.
But like,
where
it's
he
just
kind of
the
like
way that
very
he
gingerly moves her.
He's a natural born clown.
He really is.
Like his precision, I watch him and I'm just like, this guy,
Needs
where
to
did he
be
learn to do
studied.
that?
He's great.
Yeah,
he's
fantastic.
great. And then he asks the person that changed seats, and they sit next to each other, and you get the sense that something could come. He's like, "Look, I'm not here to jack up your life, right?
Because she says she's happy.
Because if you tell me you're happy and you tell me this guy that you're with is your guy, I will respect that and I'll back up out of your life. But if you tell me that that's not the case, if you tell me that there's a potential for something that exists here,
Yeah.
I'm telling you that like that's something that I'm ready and wanting right now in my life, right?
I love the instant. I mean, we just learned so much about their history just in the simple of her asking about his family.
Yeah.
She's like, how's, Randall? How's Kate?
Yeah.
And he's like, Kate's getting married and I really like the guy.
Yeah.
And then she asks about Rebecca and Miguel. And like, you could tell
Like,
she knows exactly how to rib him and calls him Miggy. And he's like, I hate when you do that. And then I love that he admitted to being a fake Facebook friend
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
so he could follow her life. I thought that was like a fun, cute,
What was
very
the name?
real.
I want to know the name that he picked. Like,
It
keep
was
Suhee Zhang.
Suhee Zhang, and she was
going. You are not Suhee. I'm Suhee.
Yeah. Chinese woman.
So he could keep tabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That is. Now, I don't have exactly that, but I do have a first girlfriend from high school. She's not on any social media.
So you have to follow her in real life.
I have to follow her in real
Yeah.
life.
You follow her around town.
Haven't been able to find her. Haven't been able to find her. But like every once in a while, not because I want anything, but I was like, she was such a big part of my life at this one point in time. I wonder how she's doing.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to find her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say her name.
you
'cause
could
Yeah.
you could pull a Randall Pearson and hire a private
Oh, geez.
detective.
It's not that, no.
If
He-
you're,
Not that
if you're
deep.
listening, we'd like to have you as a guest. Is all we're saying.
That's what we're getting.
That's
If
all
you
we're doing.
dated me in high school, and there's only one of you, you know who
You know
I'm
who you
talking
are.
about.
Yeah. The email is thatwasuspod at gmail.com.
Come on, Sterling's high school girlfriend. We're on the hunt. We want to talk to you.
Oh my goodness.
We want
What
to
does
ask.
this show mean to you?
we want to ask you about Sterling as a high
But
schooler.
we sort of in that arc in a certain sense of
Real quick, you don't hold on. I'm not done. You don't have to send us a letter.
Oh, my God.
But if you just want to attach a bunch of photos,
Oh, from that time
to
period.
the email.
please.
I
That's
look
good.
pretty much
That's
the
good.
same.
I
My
bet you do.
neck was bigger.
I just want to see a cute little
17-inch
cute
neck.
little Sterling Brown.
Probably weighed like 205 pounds, but was just
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
I looked back and I was like, why are you so big?
What was with all the neck exercises?
It was, I was like, what are you doing? This stuff over here? It was good times. We'll be right back with more That Was Us.
You want to know what's just around the corner? The season of fall And I have to say, there's nothing quite like the feeling of a classic jacket. Oh, a light jacket, some stylish pants, and maybe a pair of boots or sturdy shoes that really bring the whole outfit together. After a long, hot summer, it's so refreshing to swap out those sweaty summer clothes for something cozy and comfortable. But let's be honest, finding the perfect comfy sweater can be a bit of a challenge. That is where Quince comes in.
I love fall dressing. You guys, I am ready for the weather to cool down. And I want some turtlenecks. I want some cashmere sweaters.
Yeah.
I want cozy pants and cozy socks. And I look forward to this time of year, like most people.
Absolutely. Nice
it truly
cardigan,
is the best.
something that you can, layers. That's what fall represents. You know what I'm saying? If you need to get a little bit warmer, then you can just take it off.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
California living.
Quince has this knack for offering timeless, high-quality pieces that keep my wardrobe fresh, all without breaking the bank. You know what the best part is, gang? Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands.
And Quince partners directly with top factories, cutting out the middleman and passing those savings on to us. Plus, they're committed to working only with factories that prioritize safe, ethical, and responsible practices using premium fabrics and finishes. And the best part? Quince offers amazing deals year-round, even during those tricky in-between seasons, so you can keep your wardrobe fresh without ever breaking the bank.
I like it. I like it a lot. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/TWU for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/TWU to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/TWU. So it ends on a certain sense of hopefulness because she's she didn't run away.
No, after he professed his love, she took it.
She took it.
But we don't know what she's going to do with
We don't
that.
know what she's going to do with it. So then we go back to the immersive experience.
Yes.
I love how we're all very cognizant about saying immersive experience because the other term just sounds bad.
Antiquated.
Old.
Yeah.
Old. Where is Kate at this point in time? She gets a visit from Toby. And
who wants to take her into town?
Man, Toby,
and do some low impact lovemaking.
Low impact. The doctor said I've been cleared.
I've been cleared to be on the bottom.
Yeah, none of that
crazy
none
stuff.
of that crazy stuff you're into. Is my favorite.
I loved that line.
But there's always this sort of Toby comes in and he comes in with such joy and glee, but not always. His first thing is not to read the room.
Yes.
Per se.
Yeah. So he can be tactless.
Right.
At times.
At times.
Thoughtful
but
and
incredibly
tactless.
well-meaning.
Yeah.
Never
Well-intentioned.
trying to bring things down, but he's not the dude that let me take a temperature of this room real quick.
Yeah.
And then I'll he's like, no.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I'm just
he
gonna
shows up and he's like,
show up.
I brought donuts. Come on.
I brought my grandma's ring.
Right. We've got the hypoglycemic syringe because we're, can't do sugar. So then she's and he comes and he hangs out and he bought a new outfit, I think, and he winds up going to.
He just has a quick run in on the way. She says, no, I got to stay. He understands. You're right.
Yeah.
You got to stay.
That's what you're here for.
You got to stay.
Yeah.
And then on the way out, he runs into Duke, spelled D-I-C-K.
Spelled D-I-C-K. Wait, is that before or after you go to the class? And
before.
It's before.
It's before. Okay.
The next episode is where I show up at the class, I think.
I think you're right, yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I thought you went to New York to hang out with Kev in the last episode. I'm bugging.
I show up at the drumming class in the next episode.
Copy that.
I think.
Okay. But you do meet Duke.
Yeah, in the parking lot. On my way out. I still got my gift bag because she forgets to take it, and I do. If I do sometimes I have a wonderful double take at the end of the scene where I'm like, "Oh, you forgot your." Or I don't say you forgot your bag, but I let the audience know, like, "Oh, she forgot your bag."
Yeah,
and I you forgot. If you go back rewatch it, it's
pretty good.
4 years of acting college.
I also wrote here, Duke is a POS.
That's all.
What's a POS?
Piece of.
It's a point of sale.
Copy that.
Yeah.
Point of sale.
Point of sale. He is a point of sale.
Well, because he makes a whole big thing about oh, this just got awkward, and you're like
to Toby. Yeah, like, oh, Kate's your girl. Oh, this just got awkward.
Yeah.
Like, ew.
So listen, our distaste for him means let's credit the man with doing his job because
Correct.
Because he is the nicest man.
he's really cool.
The
What's
actor,
his name?
The
What's
actor
his name?
himself, Adam.
Adam, good dude who plays DICK.
Which is hard for a
incredibly
nice
well.
guy to do. To really come across, like a truly nice person, to
Yeah.
truly come across
Yeah.
as a duke.
As a Duke. And he also, I said, he gives Kate pause. He says he's in cabin 13. Like, if you want to, talk about it, do anything about it.
My ball's in your court.
Wow, this podcast is veered into territory
It's still
that
PG. You just have to listen close.
Okay. It's like a Pixar movie.
Is that the end
For
of it?
adults,
Toby
but
comes to
also-
visit, cleared for low pack love making. Kate can't take Toby in stride.
This is a segment of the podcast called Welcome to Sterling's Brain. He is rolling through the files, checking his notes to see if he has
You're
anything
not
else he
supposed
wants
to
to
be
talk
here. You ever
about.
think I might need something from
This is
you?
what it's like.
Ah,
Oh, wait, hold
I
on.
think
We found
that's a good
something.
point
We
there,
found something.
because there is. It does point to. I just got out of friggin' surgery. Like I could have lost my life or whatnot. I'm trying to clear all this space. For you to do this thing that you need, but like I have needs as well, and I appreciate Tobias articulating that in that moment because it's important
To bring the podcast back around.
It is important.
Yeah.
It's something that, like, if you looked on social media throughout the years, like every once in a while, we big three would get painted with this swath of selfishness, right? Which I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. Most
Sure.
human beings are from time to time. We want what we want when we want it, and
Well,
we can
a
forget.
group of young people who have been, quote unquote, abandoned by a parent when they're
Right.
teenagers
Right.
will
We'll have
start to
those
put
issues.
themselves first
Sure.
in order
Sure.
to protect themselves.
But kudos to you and your character for saying, like, hey, I'm the center of my life too.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I'm honoring you and what it is that you need, please don't forget that, like, I just
Mm-hmm.
something almost happened to me. And
Yeah,
it
I
kind of
almost died.
snaps her in a
Yeah.
real way and be like, you know what, man? That's on me. You're right.
And Toby did give her a beautiful ring. His grandmother's ring.
Yep.
Which I did like that little moment.
Yeah.
It felt like, okay, this really solidified. They are engaged. They are going to get married.
We've been talking a lot about marriage. Should we get to our fan segment?
Oh, I would love to.
Get to the fan segment. Toby is not my Molly, accept who you are rather than be someone you're not.
Oh, we're back in
Nope,
Sterling's
sorry.
brain.
No, it's just like, he's saying, Duke is saying that, like, you're trying to be something that you're not. But, like, this is masterful gaslighting by this dude. That's it. Bandbooker.bar. Okay, I'm good. Let's get to the fan segment.
We will be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
I didn't want to miss anything. Alrighty, it's time for our fan segment. We asked our listeners to share the secret to a happy, healthy marriage, and they did not disappoint. I hope I learned something.
Right?
Me too.
Yes.
I already took a look at some of these responses. And
Okay.
let me say this, guys. Color me impressed.
Let's go. Let's go. Hit me
Let's
with some
take a look.
bars.
Let's go.
Let's see what they have to say. Watch this.
Making time for each other / date nights. Megan.
Megan Head.
Don't leave off her last name anymore.
From
Guys, this has just become something else altogether. This
Firstly,
episode.
Mandy, I don't know what you're even talking about. Megan looks lovely. It looks
Megan Head is my girl.
yeah.
How good are you guys at this?
Oh,
How good are you guys at date night? Are you pretty solid? Do you make space and time for that?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we do.
Yes.
Not as much as I would like, but we are conscientious about it.
Yeah.
Are you guys?
We need to do better. We need to do better. Like, the kids are at this age. It's weird because we want them to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So then sometimes it means, like, some babysitters they like, some babysitters they don't or whatnot.
Yeah. Sure.
And sometimes it's like, just be happy with a warm adult body.
Yeah.
So mommy
That's
and daddy
right.
can go kick
That's
it.
right. Mind
Yeah.
your own business.
Yeah.
Watch something on the television.
There you go.
Yeah.
The thing that helped Rach and I is, one, it has to go on the schedule. It can't just be like, hey, do
Sure.
you want to maybe
Go on
like,
Tuesday, maybe?
Like,
I
no.
agree.
Time, place,
Got it.
but we haven't discounted breakfast and lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Turning those into like date time,
I like
love
quality
that.
time too.
That's good.
Thank you,
Okay.
Megan Head.
Right on, Megan Head. Varuna M says, trust and open communication. Trust is, if there's no trust, there's no relationship.
Right.
Any
Period.
relationship.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter marriage or
Friendship.
anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
Any
open
definition.
communication, we talked about this earlier. It's figuring out what you need to communicate and then doubling back and communicating it in a way that is loving and open and honest without being cruel, in the heat of a like a lot of times the things that I find out I need to talk about, I'm realizing it because we've had a rupture or like a little, and I'm like, oh, I need to talk about this.
Sure.
Now's not the time.
Right. Yeah.
Why don't you circle back after a little while when you think of a really nice way to talk about this.
Well done. Thank you, Varuna M. Hayden.
Never.
777.
Never stop saying, I love you.
That's good.
I like that.
I like that.
I love hearing that.
I do too.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you get at the end of a phone call or whatnot, you're like, all right, you rush, like going to do something, you have to go, but like, you can't, that's 3 words that you cannot say too much to your partner. Mm-hmm. So I like that.
We grew up in a household saying I love you all the time, especially like you just saying getting off the phone.
Yes.
It's just ingrained in like the fiber of who I am.
Yeah.
It's like my family, my friends. Like I don't have any qualms like saying bye to people and saying like love you. Like I just.
So here's interesting. Dudes can be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like, just like for some reason it seems too gushy, too whatever to like dudes.
Oh, please explain it to us.
Okay, let me dude explain this to you. My brother and I, my brother's 14 years older than me, rarely say it at the end of a phone call, right? He loves me, I know that. I love him, I know it too. Since his wife passed away, I will not end a phone conversation without saying I love
Isn't that interesting? Why?
Because I feel in my soul that he needs it more. And I need to say it. I don't need it to be assumed.
Yeah.
I need it to be explicit.
Yeah.
And I think just like through his grieving process, I just want him to know and not have to like, I think my brother.
Yeah.
Just know my brother just said it.
I think I realized, maybe it's only maybe in the last 10 years, that my love language is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And I've started to realize like, well, if I want it, I need to give it.
Sure.
And so I say it a lot to
When in need,
pretty much
sow
everybody.
seed. Yes, sir.
Including to people I shouldn't say it to.
They're not deserving of your I love you.
No. I just mean like the UPS guy drops off a bag. I'm like, thanks, love you.
No, not him.
God. It like... It just flies out.
Love you.
Thank you so much for the tech support. All right, have a good day. Love you. Nope. Christopher.
Do you really?
It has slipped out at the wrong, like, because it just is. I don't know. It's just on my.
It's a better thing to have slip out than that's what she said. You know what I'm saying? Like that's good.
Yeah.
That's a positive. I do the other one randomly. I'll
That's
do
what
it.
she
Thank you
said?
so. That's the end of this episode.
No, I'm just saying that's a thing that I do, and yours is a better one than mine. What's the next one?
Grace, forgiveness.
Say the name
Oh,
first.
sorry.
Yeah, say that name. Go ahead, say that name.
A shimweg? As Chimweg. No, I don't know.
No, now you say it, Sterling. Listen, when you're starting a social media account, one of the things is a name like
How would you pronounce that?
Shimweg.
A shimweg.
Shimweg.
That's what it sounds like.
Well,
Go
they
ahead.
say grace, forgiveness, laughter, fun, and adventure. Yes to all of those.
That was just exemplified in my response to your pronunciation.
Yeah. Grace is a big one for me and Rach. We constantly, because we can get into these rhythms where somebody thinks maybe we make up stories
Sure.
about like, oh, I know what you're thinking, and I know you well enough to know what you're thinking. So when you said that, what you actually meant was this.
Right.
And Rachel has something that has come up with in her business life, which is it's called MRI, the most respectful interpretation. It's like if you're going to make up a story, why not fantasize the most respectful version of that story instead of making up the worst?
Yeah.
And it works in life. I mean, it's grace in
I
life.
love that.
It works in traffic. Like if
Totally
someone
does.
cuts you off, you're going to be making up a story about this person. And you've got 2 options.
Sure.
It can either be one of grace and forgiveness or one of F this POS.
F this POS.
I think about that like just on to grace for oneself in a relationship or in life. I think about how everybody's had these moments on screen or on stage or whatnot, and you have like a hiccup in your brain and you can't remember a line. And I think early in my career, I would have this sort of like self-flagellating thing of like, what the F is wrong with you, Brown? Get this thing together or whatnot. And I would never do that to a fellow castmate.
Right.
No.
And I was like, why can't you be as kind to yourself as you would be to anybody else in this
others.
particular situation?
Including my partner.
Including my partner.
Yeah.
Forgiveness. Listen, laughter for my wife and I is probably number one with a bullet. We go hard in the paint. I think we keep our hearts healthy and strong because we laugh so daggum much.
I love that.
Like it really is one of the cornerstones of my marriage. So I think a shimweg hit that one on the head. Fun and adventure. Don't forget about that. We want to do one more?
Old David Bombinato. Hey! That's the best last name. Bombinato in the house. Having a strong foundation of friendship and love.
How can that go wrong?
Yeah.
It's an important. The foundation is a term that gets
Thrown around a lot.
in a relationship,
Yeah.
but it is important.
Essential.
It is important.
I think because if you forget about it, that oddly enough, there are things that you can wind up doing and saying to your partner that you would never do or say to your friend,
Yeah.
right? So if you always remember that, like, this before anything came between us.
You're my friend.
She was like my best friend, someone I could run and talk to with me and my, anyway.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friendship's big.
Yeah. One more?
Georgina Jones, 2014, saying that sense of humor and tolerance of a messy house. Secrets to a happy marriage.
And then this emoji. This is the audio of this emoji. So you think of what this emoji is, and I'm going to go.
That is exactly what I think of when I see that emoji.
You know exactly what emoji I'm talking about.
Sorry, Georgina.
You don't tolerate mess?
That's where we draw the
No.
line.
I mean, not tolerate it, but I prefer a house in order.
Do you feel like your tolerance for mess has grown since becoming a mother?
Has to.
It has to.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have
like,
no choice.
You do the best that you can, but like the kid's gonna kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you taught them how to clean up after them? Have you taught Gus how to clean up after himself?
Gus is starting to learn the concept of cleanup, but it's still, he gets distracted.
Well, mine is 13 and they still.
He knows how to throw things away and help put his dishes in the sink and whatnot. But,
Okay.
you know.
Dishes in the sink is good.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah.
Aoife has enjoyed the game when we go out to like a bookstore or something. She'll pick up everything, right?
Yeah.
And she'll show it to me. I go, wow, can you put that back? She gets all excited and puts it back. Whoa!
You did that?
And the game is her being like, and this? Yeah, can you put it back? And it's the most exciting part of she only picks things up now to put them back, which is kind of working out.
Amazing.
It's a good game, man.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Well,
Good
that
fan
was
segment.
I think that was a really saucy episode of
It
That Was Us.
The sauciest, dare I
hope,
say.
Did you?
Hope you enjoyed that commute to work.
Gave you some pep in your step.
Yeah, please reach out to us at thatwasuspod@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
Chris, do you want to
Or
hit us with that number?
You can. We have an emotional support hotline that is brought to you by Talkspace, and the phone number for that is it's a Pittsburgh number. Did
It
you know
is?
that?
Yes, it is.
It is
Pittsburgh area code.
412-501-3028. Again, that number is 412-501-3028. Give us a ring, leave us a message. Maybe we'll give you a ring back. And that was us. Thanks for listening.
See you next week.
Thanks, friends.
That Was Us is filmed at The Crow and produced by Rabbit Grin Productions and Sarah Wareheim. Music by Taylor Goldsmith and Griffin Goldsmith.